Oh
Oh.
dear. Okay. Has it just been on mute since like from the very beginning?
From the very, very beginning,
Oh
we've been
dear
on
me.
mute.
Well, you know
Oh.
what? At least thank you, Gustavo Leo, because we've been having a great conversation, but we just didn't get to it's like share it with you people.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
Holy cow. Well,
What do you
thank
want
you
to?
for stopping by. No, let's go. NJ Park, welcome to the live stream.
Thank you, Chris.
Holy
Oh
cow,
my
we
god.
missed everything. That was such a good. Okay, do you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
Hi everyone. My name's NJ. I've been on MVP for 2 years, mostly in Power BI. And basically, I'm here at FabCon today, and I just competed in the Power BI World Championships. I did not win, but I'm still more than happy to have been here. I was a finalist of one of the top four finalists of the 500 people that participated in the World Championships this year. And honestly, super happy to be here, and they're giving me kicks, so I'm I'm more than happy to
Are
have.
you? Oh, you get some of the
So I'm
shoes.
getting the fabric kicks, so it's
Okay.
like I've already ordered them. It's gonna be great.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, congratulations. That is fantastic. Um, boy, we had just such a fantastic conversation. Let's talk about you've made a lot of incredible like looking Power BI reports. Specifically, I fell in love with like the Street Fighter report that you did. Is there, in your experience or from what you've seen, is there a use case? Because I've heard like, hey, those great reports, I don't need those. I'm not going to use, or like, I don't need that in my company. What's the use case for that?
So the report that Chris is referring to is simply put, there's a Street Fighter report that I made. There's a tutorial on my YouTube channel, and what it does is it makes a Power BI report that resembles the character selection screen of Street Fighter, which is basically just being able to actually, it's like select a character, and it's using different functionalities in the button slicer that was at one point called tile slicer, now it's called button slicer again, and now it's very cool. But the reality is that most people use Power BI in corporate, and corporate usually means things like sales metrics, regional, quarterly, it's like things like that. And for some place like that, it may not matter so much if you have visual aid in your reports. But if you're going to make reports for some a place that it's like does wholesale, for example, some place that does something like how do you say, something that does sells something like it's like general products like Walmart, having information, it's like visual information of what products you're selling and what's going like what products are selling well and what products aren't, can be very useful and helpful. And I think that there's also something to be said for operational reports, like reports where someone who's actually working down the aisles is looking at which items they need to stock, and you can actually just see a picture of the products that you're stocking. Maybe with the new write back functionalities that are coming, you'll be able to create actual operational reports where once you finish stocking something, you can just click a button and say, hey, that's already done, it's all good.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think a lot of people forget about like external facing reports for customers and making something that's really visually attractive like the reports you create can be a profit center for your organization, right? And transforming the work that we do in data from just being a cost center to a profit center can really change your budget, right?
I think so. And I really think that a lot of people are thinking of Power BI in a very, telescopic point of view. A lot of people just think of Power BI as something to analyze data, to just see metrics. But the reality is that with Fabric integration, you can do a lot more than that. You can start creating actual data applications. With the new announcements that they've done today about user-defined functions, I'm really excited to see where that's going to take Fabric as a whole, because there's so much you can do with it. It's I think what Amir said today was that it's basically sassifying data functions, and that's very cool.
That is incredibly cool. Now, you've got a number of incredible reports and analytics that you've done that integrate AI into Power BI. Today, we saw a number of incredible Copilot integrations and new opportunities there. As you look at the fabric and the integration of Copilot, What are your thoughts on where people should be looking at and focusing?
Okay, so camera went off again.
Okay.
So I will say that in Power BI, as a Power BI developer, I'm really only excited about three different places that AI is coming to Power BI. The first one's obviously going to be DAX Query View and Tyndall. When Copilot drops for those two things, it's going to do so much for, it's like being able to write queries quickly, being able to, it's like change the semantic model quickly. And Rui Romano has already shown us how with Visual Studio Code you can do a lot of stuff. Right now it's not directly integrated, so you got to copy and paste things, and I don't always love to do that. But
Hmm.
if you haven't yet, you've got to check out Kurt Bueller's, it's like sessions on his YouTube channel about, Copilot, because he's just said so many really interesting points about why you'd want to use Copilot over something like ChatGPT or Claude. It's like,
Sure.
and the main reason for that is that basically Microsoft isn't just sitting down and putting a model and connecting it to the data set. They're doing a lot of due diligence. Like
Hmm.
if Copilot is going to create DAX, the output goes through a DAX parser before
Hmm.
it actually reaches you. So there are steps to ensure good quality. And ChatGPT just doesn't do that
Yep.
at the moment. So there is something to be said that we'll see how good it is when it comes out, because models are improving. And I think one of the things that Microsoft suffers from is that it's playing catch up with models.
Yeah.
I do feel like that. But the other thing that I'm super excited about is
Yeah.
Copilot just in the Power BI service. We saw a sneak peek of that today, where you're going to be able to ask questions to your semantic model. One of the things that I think is really important is that not everybody, not every client wants to go into a report, ask a question on the Copilot pane, it's like get some information, and then, it's like, or maybe the other way to ask data, ask, it's like Copilot about your information right now is explore your data.
Yep.
And it's just not perfect, because like it's still not fully natural language. I'm super excited that Copilot's just going to be a page inside a Power BI service. You're going to be able to ask questions. It's going to be able to refer you to which semantic model makes sense to answer your questions. And that's going to be a whole lot, because BI sprawl is a big thing. If Copilot can just get in there and let you know where the best information comes from, and you can give it criteria like which reports have been used the most in the last 30 days to answer these kind of metrics, that's going to be a game changer. I swear.
I completely agree. And the thing that I think that's going to make it super useful this time is they're building in a mechanism that allows us to train it so that we can point it to the, like when someone asks this question, you go to this visual, right? And then like we as developers, we as engineers, we can we can engineer our prompts so that people get to the right answer. And I think that's going to be a big differentiator with that's kind of separates out what this is going to be like and how useful this is going to be versus like the Q&A functionality that was.
Absolutely. Let's be honest, the Q&A functionality fit some use cases, but
Mhm.
it's not as complete as AI, because it was simply something that came before, and it did some stuff, but it didn't do everything. I will say that with all of the AI integrations into Power BI, one thing that's very important is making sure that people who are Power BI developers know how to prompt.
Oh
Prompting is
yes.
not easy to, it's like get into. And as models grow better, the level of prompting skill that you need becomes less.
Yeah.
That is true, but the reality is that the basics of being able to iterate, provide context, and, it's like even send links to the actual resources you want the AI to look at, those are important. And one of the things that I worry about is that, it's like a lot of companies just aren't considering this at this time, because,
Yeah.
like Copilot isn't here yet in the capacity, sure, but
Mhm.
it is also like people are already using, ChatGPT to write DAX or Sonnet. It's like 3.7, yeah, like or Claude to write DAX and stuff like that, and people are having great success.
Yeah.
but I do feel like it's kind of like a quiet wave. People hear about it from someone and they see it and then they use it instead of the whole rush that I expected where everyone was going to be using it.
Yeah, I agree. It's a little slower than I had necessarily. The adoption is a little slower than I thought, but honestly, in some ways, I think that was good because Q&A had an issue where they launched, it wasn't that great. People went away from it. Then they had a big update, still didn't do the types of things they were looking for, and then it's hard to get people to take a third swing at something.
Absolutely.
And so I think Copilot in Fabric and Power BI has really matured in the last year, and so in some ways, I kind of like that there's been a gradual rollout of it. But now it's available for, well, at the end of April, it's going to be available for everyone.
Yeah,
So,
hey, so if you haven't heard, like you couldn't use Copilot unless you were a F64, it's like license. And now everyone in
F2.
Fabric
Yep.
is going to be able to use it. That does mean you need Fabric, but the F2 license is like I think the lowest you can get it is something like $49 a month or something.
No,
Like you can get it very very low.
yeah, it's very, very inexpensive. If you're on 24/7 and you don't commit, it's $300 a month. You run it during business hours or something like that, you can keep your prices down.
Very low.
Yeah, very, very low.
I mean, let's be honest, an F2 license will not do so much. It's like maybe if you're a small business and you want to build, something in Fabric, I think $300 a month could be very valuable for a lot of people, but it really depends on the use case, right?
Yeah.
I think I saw someone from Microsoft presenting something in Switzerland where they were using an F2 capacity to track cows that they were farming.
Yeah.
And that was a very funny thing for me because it's like they were actually doing some kind of Python code to analyze if it was a black cow or a brown cow or something like that.
Holy cow.
And it was just like a ranch thing, and that was a very cool use case of how they were actually doing that with Fabric.
Wow, that's just incredible. Well, I have to really thank you for taking time out of your conference to come on down, do this live stream, apparently twice because we didn't have sound before. So thank you so much for coming on. Before you run to your next session, is there anything you'd like people to know?
Start prompting. Seriously, get on it. It's going to be the next big thing. But thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for hanging in there through our technical difficulties. We're going to be back with more interviews, more live streams, hopefully fewer technical glitches. So stay tuned. You guys have a great day. Peace. All right.
Baker Tilly Digital combines strategic industry insight and advanced technical expertise to uncover and solve your digital transformation challenges. If you're interested in learning more, check out our website at bakertilly.com/digital.